Um, Probably one of the biggest things that I think has helped I Ride the Lines / We Ride the Lines like stay active and stay like we keep putting out really awesome stuff. I think one of the biggest reasons of that um, is that we're not afraid of giving criticism on tracks. I think that criticism, first of all, it makes tracks that. Actually, you know what? I can't focus with this music. I'm gonna pick some different music. But tracks that are really good, it makes it a lot easier for us to say, like, that's a really great track, and for people to be really proud of that because there's the potential for them to respond negatively. So that creates a much greater sense of reward when people say, like, that was really awesome, or like, I have nothing bad to say. Like, that is one of the highest compliments you can get. Versus if everyone always just said, oh, this track was great, 8 out of 10, which is what was kind of going on at... Oh, man. Really? Am I frozen? Tell me when I'm back. Am I back? Am I back? Okay. What was I saying? So what was kind of going on at .org, just a little, not a whole lot, was people would say, like, post a track, and everyone would just be like, that was great, can't wait to see your next one, 8 out of 10, and that would be the whole comment, and there'd be like 50 of those. And I Ride the Lines, we started this thing where it was more like, if someone wasn't as good as someone else at different things, we'd be like, hey, try, look at this nose manual tutorial and get your nose manuals balanced, or like try using more tail manuals, or like, and then when we got into gravity wells, then that sort of carried over. But it was like this thing where we started critiquing tracks as works of art, not just as like, oh, hey, I made a cool thing, check it out, people. It was like we were artists, and that was really cool. And I remembered having this conversation with Tech Dog in person, actually, and talking to him about like how great I Ride the Lines was for that. It's just critique. It like, there's a difference between criticism, which is negative, which sort of has this negative connotation where you're like, criticism means you're going to take something and find what's wrong with it and tell people why it's wrong in violent fashion, and that's not what we're trying to do. Critique is like, you take a track or any work of art, and you say, okay, what did I like about this? What didn't I like about this? What do I think other people think about this? And then how would I have done this differently from them? Let them know all of this, and then say, like, what suggestions do I have for them to improve? Now, obviously, I can't give advice to chuggers on how to stack flings. Like, I have no idea. But I can give him advice on how to make it appeal to casual viewers. So if I'm someone who doesn't know how to quirk, but I like watching quirks, then I can say, hey, I really liked this trick. I liked how it looked, and that can be meaningful to him. Or he can just say, oh, I don't really care because you're not one of my, quirking buddies. But it's up to him. It's up to him how to take the criticism. But we should never feel like we have to censor people. We should... Oh, this lyricist. We should never feel like we have to take what people say and say, you can't say that, unless they are bashing a person personally, or they are just telling someone that something is terrible and not giving any criticism on why. Helios, there's an issue here where you're saying that all you want to do is have fun with Line Rider, and you want to share it, and you only want people to enjoy it. But that's not I mean, if all you get is, I was there back in 2007 when this was happening. If all you get is cool track, 10 out of 10, cool track, nice fling, cool track, I like this. Like, if that's all you get, it's not as rewarding. It's not as rewarding as someone giving a full-fledged review and then concluding saying, like, this track was awesome, you should make more, I love this, blah, blah, blah. And it's not as... And it's helpful because we all make multiple tracks. We don't just make one and say, hey, this is the best track I'm ever going to make. I'm never going to make anything better than this. You know, take it or leave it. I don't care what you think. That almost never happens. And so we're always trying to make a track, see what people think, and then see, you know, it's a combination of what do I want to make and what do people enjoy. Because we all want to make stuff that people enjoy, but we also all want to make stuff that we like to make. So there's both things involved. But what we should never do is say people can't give critique on tracks, because critique is what made I Ride the Line such a great place, and what continues to make We Ride the Line such a great place. So that's why I'm not going to stop giving critique. Even if you say, I don't want to hear it, I'm just going to say, like, top of the post, say, well, I'm going to critique this track, you can read it or not. Because even if you don't read it as the track maker, other people can read it. And so they can gauge how, like, they can say, oh, well, this person liked this on this track, what if I put that in my track? Or this person didn't like this in this track, maybe I'll not put that in my track. So it's valuable for everyone. It's not just telling people, like, on your next track, this is what you should do. It's everyone. It's really, it's a fundamental thing that makes We Ride the Lines great. And the fundamental thing that I think is made, like, the community continue, and we're still making stuff. We're still making tracks. It's because we're artists. We're not just gamers. We're not just having a good time, and then as soon as we, like, as soon as we get bored, we'll just move on to a new game. At least for me, like, this is something that I've realized is, like, I'm, at least not anytime soon, at least not as long as there's community here, I'm not going to be going away, because we're artists, and I like art critique, and I like exploring, like, what can we do in Line Rider, and it's a community thing. It's all about creating and then responding to what other people create. And it's really great. It's hard sometimes. It's hard. I know the feeling when you post a track and you get a review that someone's just like, you know, man, this just didn't do it for me, and I don't really know why, and I can't really explain it, and there's nothing really I can say, and I'm sorry, but I just didn't really like it. Like, that's really tough. And I mean, there's really no getting around that, but we should never tell people you can't say that because it's mean. I mean, if they're doing it in a respectful way where they're not saying, like, this track sucks, you should go die in a hole, I mean, obviously that is flaming. But if they're saying, you know, I just didn't really like this and I don't really know why, then there's nothing bad about that. It's hard to accept if you worked really hard on it. But it's necessary. Like, and I don't want to censor critique. I really, really don't want to censor critique. And that's why I continue to critique. I would love it if more people did. I think there's a lot of people who, I mean, I post a review, someone bashes me for it because they disagree, and then we have this whole page of arguing about arguing, and then it's just a mess, and people say, you know what, I'm just not even going to touch that. I'm not even going to post. I'm not even going to post my opinion ever on a track. And that is sad to me. I mean, because we should feel free to say what we like. We should feel free to let people know how we thought, because that is how we make more art. It's how we make more art. It's how we continue. All right. I'm going to get back to framing now.